Some of the guys here in the office and I have been talking about NFT gaming, and more specifically, the trends that surround it, its long-term viability, and whether or not it's going to continue to gain any traction. And I'm of the opinion that NFT gaming is here to stay, and I'm going to tell you guys why in today's video. Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. I am your host, Seth, and as I said in the introduction, today we're going to be talking about the topic of NFT gaming. Now, I'm not going to tell you like what it is or how it works.
That's because he doesn't know.
All of those other things. There's plenty of videos out there. I'm sure you can find them. I'm here more to talk about like the long term of NFT gaming, and more importantly, why I think NFT gaming is here to stay and isn't going anywhere.
I'm not fucking leaving!
I'm also going to be talking about some of the challenges that NFT gaming faces. And guys, I love this kind of informational content. I'm a nerd at heart, and I love sort of like digging into the guts, so to speak, of some of this more like complex, I guess, farther reaching, societal trends and things like that in gaming. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, if you like the NFT gaming content, if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about NFT gaming, make sure to leave a like on it, make sure to comment down below and tell me that you enjoyed it, and I'll be happy to bring some more content to you guys in the future. But let's go ahead and dive right into it. I think that NFT gaming is here to stay. And the first reason why I think that is because NFTs are a natural progression of video games ecosystems, and the way that the economies around gaming is already happening now. Now, microtransactions within games already exist. I mean, skins, character customization options, all of the different things that you can spend money on, those microtransactions already exist within the gaming space. NFTs are a natural evolution of that. See, NFTs would allow for the creation of true, unique, collectible items that could exist within the gaming spheres, and not only that, but they would be solely within the hands and the control of the gamer or the person who owned them, not the company that created it. See, as it stands now, if you play Call of Duty Warzone or League of Legends or any of these other games, you buy, say, a skin for your character and you spend money on it. Now, Riot Games or Activision Blizzard owns that skin ultimately. Like, if that game shuts down, that server shuts down, your money's gone. You can't ever get it back, you don't own that skin, and you can't make use of it anymore. I mean, you're basically just paying them, and you retain no ownership of those items that you bought and paid real money for. Now, let's imagine a different scenario.
A world of pure imagination.
Let's imagine that the multi-million-dollar artist Banksy, for whatever reason, designed 10 unique skins. They could be for Call of Duty Warzone, they could be for League of Legends, they could be for Overwatch, it could be for anything, right? Now, say those skins were given out to some top flight streamers, Faker or Tim the Tatman. Now, the value for something like that would be insane. First and foremost, they're limited. Only 10 exist, so you can't just get the skin if you are, any Joe Schmo. Like, you have to buy it from that person, and they would probably increase in value as they traded more hands and gained more history and, underwent more and more sort of prestige, just like a really precious art item does. And every time that thing changed hands, not only would the company make a portion of sales, but also Banksy, the original artist who created it, would get a portion of every future sale. So it's great for the artist because they get future, revenue from the sale of their work that they created. It's great for the company who ultimately commissioned the NFTs because they get a portion of those sales as well every time it trades hands. And it's good for gamers because if you own that skin, it's a collectible item. Even if Riot Games or all of those other things suddenly shut down, you would still own that NFT. It's in your possession. That can't be taken away from you. So that has real value. Now, not only that, but imagine if one day in the not so far away future, you could not only use that skin in, Call of Duty, but also in League of Legends, and also in a bunch of other games that could talk to each other, that you could take your skin or your item or that thing that you own from game to game to game. I mean, it's the Oasis from Ready Player One, where you can have these unique items or skins or abilities or character identifiers that you can bring into different games because you own them, and those games have now been designed to talk to one another. I think science fiction is a great indicator of where things are headed as a society. I mean, look at Star Trek back in the 60s. They had all these tablets and things like that they were doing, and now you see people walking around with iPads all the time. I mean, science fiction, again, is kind of an indicator of where thoughts are going, where the zeitgeist of any particular culture is headed. And Ready Player One was a great indicator of where I think gaming is actually going to be headed in the not-so-distant future.
Back to the future!
And so while this is obviously kind of far away, it's not crazy for us to think about, and there are companies already out there who are trying to develop these things. And that's one of the reasons why I think that NFT gaming isn't going anywhere. It feels like a natural evolution of microtransactions where players retain ownership over the items that they spend money on, not the company that they paid it for. And that kind of brings me into my next point that I was talking about with like zeitgeist and culture, which is public adoption of NFTs is already happening. Now, with any technology, there's something called the adoption curve, right? There's the early adopters over here, the people who are the first ones who are going to buy this new technology or invest in this new thing, regardless of whether or not it works that great. I mean, think about the first computers, right? They were massive, unwieldy, expensive.
That sounds terrible.
It was way worse than just pen and paper and hiring, people for data entry. But there were early adopters. People continued to work at that technology. And now we have a computer in not only every home and every office all over the world, just about. Most of us carry a supercomputer in our freaking pockets with our smartphones. So there's the early adoption people, and then there's the large sort of middle of the bell curve, which is mass adoption. And that's where pretty much everybody else gets on board. I mean, this is true of any technology. Computers, microwaves were like that. Microwaves used to be like $1,700, but now they're everywhere. But anyway, at some point, technology passes into that phase of adoption, and I think we're there with NFTs and with cryptocurrency as a whole. Hundreds of cryptocurrencies out there, all kinds of companies that are building things and creating things that are all based on the blockchain. I mean, it's a revolutionary technology. It's a barrier-breaking technology, and it's happening right now. There are huge indicators of public adoption that are, again, happening. Like CryptoPunks just signed a deal with United Talent Agency for a massive amount of money, I think 305 million or something like that. Also, NFTs saw more trading volume alone in the month of August than they did from January until August 2nd of this year. Companies like Visa are creating crypto cards that can be used solely with cryptocurrency. El Salvador applied with the World Bank to allow cryptocurrency as a national currency. They were denied. Again, these are indicators of broader societal changes that are happening right now. Also, I forgot, Twitter is creating something that will allow you to tip with Bitcoin. And again, that's why I think NFTs aren't going anywhere, and they'll soon become a part of our daily lives. And with NFTs becoming a part of daily life in general, they're inevitably going to make their way into gaming. Which brings me to my next point, which is that there are already so many NFT games that are in development, not just by independent developers, but by major studios. Like Ubisoft is partnered with Axie Infinity and working on Illuvium with them, which is one of the most anticipated NFT games that is coming out here in 2021 or 2022. In addition, there's others, like Logan Paul is coming out with a crypto game called Crypto Zoo, where you can buy and sell and breed unique animals and things like that that are NFTs. There are games in development, not just by independent developers, but by major developers that are going to be coming in 2021, 2022, and that are very quickly gaining traction and that are creating quite a stir. So again, that's another reason why I don't think they're going anywhere. And finally, we come to maybe one of the most important aspects that is going to undoubtedly, in my mind, drive the mass adoption of NFT gaming as a whole, and that is the ability to monetize your hobby. This is, again, perhaps the largest point in favor of NFT gaming, is that it's literally allowing people to make money playing games. And that's insane. I mean, think about how streaming and video services like Twitch and YouTube completely changed the landscape of media, entertainment, and gaming as a whole. I mean, it used to be that if you wanted to be a media outlet, if you wanted to, have a news show or have any sort of like entertaining talk show or something like that, you had to be in with the major networks or in Los Angeles or New York or one of the major markets. And now YouTube has made it so that literally anybody with a clever studio setup, a camera, and a microphone is able to sit down, talk, build a massive audience, and gain significant leverage and create a very significant media outlet that has power and purchasing power and real public influence. I mean, that's crazy. Twitch has allowed hundreds, if not thousands, or even millions of people all across the globe to monetize playing video games. They get to get watched to play video games, and that's incredible, and has created entire economies based around those things. And now NFT gaming has the opportunity to make an impact just like that, to completely change the landscape of how money is made. There are already thousands of people who make their living expenses in different parts of the world just by NFT gaming, by playing a video game that they enjoy, and that is insanity. So guys, those are kind of the 4 reasons why I think that NFT gaming is here to stay, and we will only be hearing more about it as things unfold. That being said, there are definitely some challenges that NFT gaming faces that it's going to have to overcome, or that, might potentially hinder its wide adoption, and so I wanted to talk about those a little bit as well. And the first, I think, obvious challenge to NFT gaming are the barriers to entry, because you need a relatively significant investment in most of these games to start. You gotta have money.
Motherfucker! What you gonna do, Jerry? Show me the money!
I mean, these games, whereas there's so many games now that are coming out that are free, battle royales like Call of Duty Warzone and Apex Legends and all these other things, This is a game that costs much more than that in some cases to, again, sort of front that initial investment and get going with your earnings. It's a little bit expensive to get into, and that might prevent a lot of people from engaging within these games. So there's the fact that you have to have a relatively good understanding of how cryptocurrencies work, which is not exactly what a lot of people are sort of looking forward to when they get into a game. Some people just want to play a game and have fun and escape. The other challenge that I think NFT games face is that there are limited choices in terms of the sheer number of games, and even within those games, there's not a lot of variety on the types of games that we see. You see, NFTs by nature are sort of digital assets, so a lot of the games that come up first and that are popular in the NFT gaming space are like card-based games, or games that really revolve around like assets, like having items or things. And so again, you're kind of limited in terms of the scope of what kind of offerings you can make when it comes to an NFT game. So if you're not into those kind of games, like card-based games or RPGs where you have different heroes and things like that, then it's kind of limiting in terms of audience participation and the kind of games that are going to appeal to those wider audiences. But this is a problem that I think is already sort of on its way to being solved, in that there are more and more development projects underway when it comes to NFT games. And we've got some RPG games coming up, and I think that as developers continue to sort of refine and figure out this system and how they can fold in NFTs to other different kinds of games, that problem will be alleviated, and there will be a broad offering of games that you can use to sort of make money and participate in. And that kind of leads me into my next point, which is the sort of another challenge that NFT gaming faces, which is the earning mechanics within a lot of these games sort of encourage almost like a first to market mentality, or like feedback loop, I guess. Basically, they're kind of pyramid schemey, because it's best for the people who get into it right away at the start and at first. And then as more players come on, sort of the earnings, the best earnings kind of funnel to the people at the top. But again, I think that as game developers develop various different economies and earning mechanics around like how you can make money in the game, that problem is also going to be alleviated as those economies become more robust, as there are lots of different ways that you can earn money. And that problem, like I said, will, I think, kind of go away, and it will become, not pyramid schemey, because that's just not sustainable. The other challenge that I think a lot of NFT games face is regulatory agencies and governments and things like that. I mean, Uncle Sam is gonna get his, trust me. But the idea is that, blockchain and cryptocurrencies and all of these things were intended as a alternative to fiat or government-backed currencies, and for a way for people to sort of avoid, foreign exchange fees and differences in currency prices and what have you. So I think that that's one of the things that like cryptocurrencies try to alleviate, and if government agencies and regulatory bodies start to get involved, that might change. It also might change the nature of how these games work fundamentally. And so that's kind of probably the biggest question mark that is hanging over NFT, is how are regulations and agencies and things like that going to, figure out how to tax it and how to regulate it and how to interfere, basically. Despite the fact that it's the biggest question mark and one of the great challenges that is going to come for NFT games, I don't think it's going to be enough to knock it off the map. So to kind of wrap things up or sum things up, I think that the biggest reasons why NFT gaming is here to stay is that it's a natural evolution of sort of microtransactions and the economies around gaming as they exist now, just better because gamers will own the assets that they paid for. I think that public adoption of cryptocurrencies as a whole and NFTs as a sort of real value driver are being held and being adopted publicly en masse in a very real way right now. So I think that's a good indicator of why NFT gaming is here to stay. Games continuing to be developed by big developers and independent developers alike is a good indication that it's a legitimate thing that's staying. And I think that probably the most powerful driver, because it's just the way that that economics works, is demand. As people begin to be able to monetize their hobbies and make money by playing games and having fun, that's a very real, tangible thing that's going to demand more and more options for that, and that's why developers are making them. So I think those are kind of the four reasons why it's going to stick around and going to get more and more prolific. And then the challenges, of course, that I think it faces are the sort of barriers to entry and how people are going to deal with that. I think that, obviously regulations, regulatory agencies, and governments. I think that making sure that developers offer a wide variety of abilities, or rather ways in which to earn money. You guys, God, I'm talking. Hold for siren. Okay, those sound like they're like right outside. And finally, I think kind of maybe the last challenge is just the limited availability of options, which again, I think will go away. So most of the challenges are relatively minor, notwithstanding the whole like regulatory agency thing. And I think that all of the indicators of why it's going to work are much stronger and will overcome the challenges. So that's why I think NFT gaming is here to stay, you guys. And it's why I think that ultimately people should probably start looking into it. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed learning about a little bit about why, you know, I think NFT gaming is here to stay, what the future holds for NFT gaming, make sure to drop a like on this video. It helps us out tremendously here on the channel. We very much appreciate it. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel because who knows what might be coming out, you know, in the near future here. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you guys for your support. Thank you so much for those of you who are commenting and liking and everything. It means a lot to us here. We've been working very, very hard. And thank you guys for that. So thank you guys so much. I guess I can only say it so many ways, but appreciate your support. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And as always, game it till you make it. We'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.